Many thanks for staying with us. Let's bring you some updates now from Imo State. The governorship candidate of the Labour Party, Ethan Achono, has expressed displeasure over the process of transmitting the results after sorting and counting of the results.
So many places, it's either the staff there refuse to sign the result and upload, that they're going to now take the result up to the collation center. You are seeing what's happened here. You had to take intervention of some of the security agencies who came here before they now started uploading. Before, they said it wasn't uploading, but now it suddenly started uploading. And maybe if this wasn't my area, maybe it would have been the same that's happened. There's a place where they don't even have result sheet in Mbisi, Abombisi. You see, so the thing is crazy because we're winning massively on the ground. They are trying everything humanly possible to fight and thwart it, but we will not allow it. I hope INEC is hearing me now. We will not allow it. Imolites will not allow it.
Ethan Achono, candidate of the Labour Party in the governorship election in Imo State. We'll get to talk more about that, but in the meantime, let's bring you updates from Bayelsa State. INEC has confirmed the release of its personnel that was abducted just before the election. Again, INEC has confirmed the release of its personnel that was abducted. Our guest, Alester Wilcox, is still here. The issue of security now for the election. Before this election, there were cases of, killings, and as a matter of fact, one of, the bodies, YAG Africa, for instance, predicted there will be low voter turnout because of these incidents of insecurity. How do you compare the experience pre-election and what we have witnessed today?
Well, most times, from my experience, is that most of the violence occurs on election day. Yes, you might have skirmishes of violence, maybe during rallies and all whatnot, but most times because people will want to carry out some unconventional acts, ballot box snatching and all that. So that will give the security agencies a lot of work. But you see, on the general security situation of the country, yes, a lot of places are still very volatile. Bayelsa, as a matter of fact, the three states that is current elections today have been very, very volatile states in terms of security-wise. Imo, we know the extended activities of IPOB and their ESN partner in Imo. In fact, in the entire South, I think Imo is the epicenter of the insecurity issue without evidence of killing and all whatnot. So it's not unexpected that some of these things will happen. And that's why we get the massive development of security. But again, we're in a country that has a very wide landmass. Let's even take Kogi State, for example. The landmass is so big. So even if you pack the whole security agencies in Nigeria into Kogi and put them side by side, it will not go around. There will still be more than enough empty spaces because it's a wide mass. So they have to do as much as they can do. And that's why I said the people must own the process. If you go to Bayelsa, half of the state is in the river. It's filled up with water. It's in the riverine area, and a lot happens in the riverine area. I'm sure those people that were abducted and decided it was in the riverine area of the state, because if you have to move election material by boats and you are not under any serious security cover, you are not doing it discreetly, where people will not know that, because anybody that gets hold of the election material is as good as trying to compromise the election. And so people will do all that they can do. And you will not expect anybody to go and challenge anybody on the sea. You will not expect any INEC official to go and challenge. If you do not have any enough security cover from security agencies, even security agencies, it depends on the firepower that you have or the deterrence that you have. Again, because I know what happens in that area. The level of militancy, is very, very high. So it is not out of place that you find this thing. But I'm happy from your report now that whoever that was adopted has been released. Maybe it was an adoption that is based on specific, let me get the electoral material, and not an adoption that is based on, okay, I'm taking you for ransom. So that may be why it was an easy thing for them to be released and because nobody can go and risk his life on top of water, where you don't even know how to swim, or you're not a good swimmer. Even if you're a good swimmer, how do you swim in the middle of an ocean? I mean, I come from that area, so I can understand. I can understand what anybody will face in terms of carrying election material through those. Then that is why discreteness. Sometimes this idea of INEC calling the whole world want to share material, it has its own pros and cons.
But perhaps they want to make everybody involved in the process.
Transparency.
Transparency, and then you are also now endangering the people that will carry it.
But which is better?
Okay.
Which is safer?
Yeah.
When parties go to the court, for instance, and they say, okay, INEC was not transparent,
This,
it was a very opaque.
becomes an evidence.
It was a very
So
opaque
when
system.
parties go to the court and said, those kind of material we are adopted and kidnapped or killed. Because we've had instances where election officials were killed. This time around, we think it's an adoption. But sometimes we have them killed. People have lost their life on account of the Nigerian election. So the stakeholders must really find a way around some of these things, because it's not helping us. Now, I saw from your report the Labour Party candidate giving his own part of whatever thing he sees that was going wrong. I'm sure that is his locality. I think he's from that area.
Yes.
And so he's saying, he's not giving his own. Look, and I said it here before now. Sir, take your Form ECAT. Leave iREV. If you take iREV to court, you will not win. The Form ECAs that you have is what you can take to court. Now he's complaining it is not uploaded, and people are not learning. These people have told you iREV is a viewing center. You are from EC8. It's what is important to you, and your agents are there. So gather them. So you don't need to make too much. Yes, if the people say this thing could not upload, no problem. I have my Form EC8. If I'm cheated, I will take it to court. I will prove I won the election. So some of those, and that's why I said, when the actors are the ones that discredit the system, it gives a lot of fallback on the citizenry as to how much confidence they will have in the system and to want to participate. Because they will say, after they say, they are not, they know who they are, who they wanted.
In that vein now, and in looking at insecurity and what you have just said, how do people own the process?
No, you see, for me, like I said, every polling unit is localized. Do you understand? It's localized. We know, especially in these rural areas, let's even say in these rural areas, we know who we are. If you have a legitimate issue that election material came late, that's an issue. If you have an issue that it didn't come, that's an issue. But you cannot tell me that because some people will come and attack you in your locality, you will not want to defend yourself. No. The greatest danger is in doing nothing. That's the greatest danger. And the politicians that are principled about the process must be able to enlighten, educate, empower their people in order to. When people are saying that, the observer was talking of buying votes for 30,000, I think voters have stepped up their game. But again, there's a willing buyer. That's why there's a seller. No, there's a willing buyer. Yes, that's why there's a willing seller. That's why there's a buyer. Because if you understand the processes, and because today people see election as my time to get my own, because after that I won't get anything. Who says you won't get anything? No matter who rules the country,
you should get the dividend of
there
democracy.
must be something in there for you.
Well, let's talk about, we may still, return to that, but let's talk about a critical aspect of this election, and that is the issue of iREV.
Yeah.
We know that it was introduced, of course, to help with some level of transparency for people to see what is going on beyond, what you have at the polling units. Now, we have some latest statistics about upload of election results on iREV by INEC, and the upload is up to 60% in some of the states where elections are holding today. And, the process has now entered the critical state. We know counting and announcement of results. What do you think? And yes, on the screen we have some of the visuals. This one is from Imo State,
We're seeing about 60% over, yeah.
Yes, there.
Percentage uploaded is about 60, as at now, 60.93%.
Yes. And then...
And we
and
hear
this was taken about 5:54 p.m.
Yes.
That's when that image was taken.
And earlier we heard of Bielsa, that was about 64.
Yes, and even on the screen now we have Kogi. Kogi is about 54.56%. This was captured at about 5:54 p.m. also. So that's less than 50.
No, exactly.
And here is from Bielsa, I beg your pardon.
That's about
63.19, is that 9 or 5%?
Yes.
All right, so there's good progress.
Yes, there's good progress because you see, the iREV, it's a good innovation to the fact that, and what are you uploading to iREV? Let's even say what you are uploading to iREV. You're not uploading an individual figure, you're uploading the scanned, it's like you photocopy, you snap the Form EC8 that has been signed, that has been filled and signed at the polling unit. That's what you scan, that's what you upload. That's what you scan and upload. And it is there as a reference point. So that I can go to the portal and I can see it. I can see all the results for any state, for any locality, any local government, because that is the way the Beavers machine has been programmed. Ward, you can see for each ward, and it's a good thing for us because most often than not, our election results are not, you don't find them in the internet. Today, Ghana's election results are in the internet. They know how to, they look at the trend of each constituency. In fact, the last election I was so thrilled. They will tell you, in the UK, you know the majority of, every MP's majority, I mean, what he's doing. And you know, when the election, they'll tell you, this man has a 5,000 majority, this party, and then so it will take, and for you to upturn that man. So everybody knows it is clear that this is there. Ghana is doing so well, their EC is doing so well. So that is a good thing for Nigeria. Don't discredit it. We just started it. Last time, INEC complained that they couldn't transmit, that they couldn't upload all because of whatever glitch, this, that happened. They couldn't upload everything. But that does not invalidate. So my point remains a viewing portal. It remains a viewing center. It remains a storage portal. But do not take it, do not go to, say, because INEC not so result in a certain local government or certain areas was not uploaded. Therefore, it's a ground for you to discredit the election. Have your copies of your Form EC8. The Supreme Court, or the court have made that pronouncement over and over and over and over and over. Your Form EC8A and whatever forms that are used in the manual collation. Collation is manual. It's not electronic. Upload and the storage is electronic. Collation is manual. And so that has remained part of it. So even if you want to do it electronic collation, it must also, those manual things must be imputed into those things and satisfied.
So you've said a lot about
it.
You've said a lot about citizens. Don't discredit the system.
No, don't discredit it.
But then what should they do, especially at this critical stage when sorting, counting, and upload is happening?
At this point in time, there is nothing much anybody can do because the election has been concluded. To those who voted, yours is to be sure that at the point of the polling unit, you've already seen your results. So that is where your own work ends, your own services end. Now it takes for the agents of the candidates to follow this process to local governments and ensure that you give back your, because now at this point the citizens have nothing to do. Even we that are doing at best analysis on how to either douse tension, or in some principle we want to create tension. Now that's not what is expected. It's not expected that it is not the what they call the party agents at the ward collation centers that have the job to do. Ensure that what comes from the units, from the polling units, are what is collated in the central collation, and then from there moved to local government collation center. So that is, so every person now should remain calm and watch that the system goes on. And people should not incite the system. That's for me. Don't incite the system. The system, let's not incite the system with comments, with with degradation and all whatnot. The election as that now, there's nothing anybody can do than to expect a result.
Expects the results. And of course, as INEC has now commenced this process of, uploading on iREV just as it promised, what do you think is the impact of that on the electioneering process itself?
No, the impact is the fact that you can have a copy of your, anybody now can, because unlike before, if you are not in polling unit B, you cannot see the form, you cannot see what happens there. Now you can see. If it's all uploaded, you can see. Okay? And if anybody, the political parties now, if what is uploaded is not what you have as what happened in that place, you cannot raise an issue. So it creates more transparency. So if what's uploaded, because as a matter of fact, the uploading should be at that point. With that BVAS machine, that's what you used to snap the from EC8. And then I've not touched the machine before, so and then whatever be the processes you do an upload. Now that is the one that is supposed to hit the server, wherever the server is. So ensure that it is expected that the security agencies, the party agents will ensure that at the point where the results have been entered in from EC8, they should snap and upload. And that is it. So anybody can go to the portal and view. And you can click, I'm sure it has, I've not visited it before. I'm sure it can be because I'm sure there are levels of authorization and other security, level of viewing where you can view, the extent to which you can view and all that. So that is it. It helps us to have a copy. But I keep saying it. Please, if you are going for any litigation, don't start quoting iREV. Okay,
so let's talk about the security concerns in states like Bayelsa State and the fact that earlier today there was the kidnap of INEC officials. What's your take on this? Because a lot of these things affect outcomes of elections.
No, certainly.
It affects voter confidence.
Yes, certainly.
In the elections, how can INEC overcome this kind of situation?
Well, that is not INEC. INEC
security officials.
Yes, INEC is, I say, in every election processes, there are so many other stakeholders that are contributory to it. Even up to the point that most of the returning officers these days are sourced from the universities.
Yes.
So even when people are saying electoral commissioners should be deployed, I don't understand if they even understand how the process works. During the elections, electoral commissioners are useless. At best, the administrators. Because the returning officers are not even appointed by the RECs. They are appointed by the national headquarters, and they pick professors who do the collation and announce the results. So, yes, I know that people can have one or two things where they can come, but the real people that does the election are those returning officers. At this point, the RECs are even the ex-administrators. So, when there is, even you need the service of the youth corpus. Yeah. They are also integral parts. So INEC is like an umpire. I mean, like a big house, but most of the services is done by other collaborating agencies. So in terms of security, it is solely in the hands of the security agencies. INEC can do nothing. The security agencies are supposed to provide security for both voters, elected officials, and materials. Do you understand? So even in the logistics, the movement of materials, remember that most times they move their materials to Central Bank of Nigeria votes in each of the states. Yeah. So you can discover that INEC also needs the service of the Central Bank to secure the material. Then you want to move it like what happened now. You want to move it to the polling unit. They sometimes collaborate with the National Union of Road Transport Workers because INEC will not have enough vehicles to be able to move. So they will collaborate with NURT and other people that will provide them vehicles maybe for a fee or whatever to do those services. So, so when some of these things happens, as far as INEC is concerned, their job is get the material to the polling unit, after the voters have voted, they are not the one that's going to call the voters out. Remember, it is the political parties and whoever the candidates, as soon as the voters voted, their own is to count the votes, announce the vote. Count, tally the vote, announce the vote. So the other services is collaborated with other agencies. And so those agencies must step up. Politicians, violence can can exist if politicians incite their people to violence. Violence can go if politicians tell their people, I don't want violence. Because if a politician says, look, gentlemen, don't go and fight for me.
Actually, they are not overzealous
Human beings?
No, I don't think anybody can be more overzealous, can be more overzealous than the owner of the process. If you've told your people from whatever, maybe you have your central council, and you say cascade it down, do not. And everybody says that, Oga Sef don't want us to chop, Abi. No, if they don't provide you, okay, even if you say it's overzealous, and the man did not provide you the necessary tools you need to protect. Violence is not done empty-handed now. Violence is done with some element of mobilization. So if you are not mobilized to cause violence, will you start it? You will not. We are waiting for Oga to send money so that people can buy cutlasses and whatever they want to buy. And the man says, I'm not interested. Let us vote. Allow them to vote. Go and campaign, canvass for votes. Don't snatch ballot box. Don't input fake. Don't go and snatch ballot papers or INEC forms. So it is in the hands of the politicians. That's why every time you discover that politicians will sign peace accord, the police will be there, the SSS will be there, they will all sign peace accord and take it. And then by the time they leave that venue, you hear what they will be saying. Oh, INEC has failed. They are not doing this. So by the time you now even start making those comments, oh, your result is not being uploaded. Oh, this has happened. That one has happened. What happens? Even when your supporters do not want to do violence, you have not told them, I'm being cheated though. If I'm not there, you will not eat though, then they will not do the violence. So we must all know that we are all stakeholders, we are all partners in these whole processes. And we must get it right. And INEC must show, to a large extent, I think I empathize with INEC. They are doing the very best I think they can do. Not to say that there are no bad eggs, but they're doing the very best they can do. They are showing how credible they can be. They are showing how open they can be. They are showing how safe they can be. Then those in the field must also complement that, especially the politicians.
So let's get it right together is what you said.
Let's get it right together.
Do you think electronic voting is a step towards achieving that?
Well, there's no one silver bullet that can cure all. Electronic voting, yes, it helps. But again, it can be corrupted. It can create more problems. I remember during the last electionary, even in 2019, I remember what happened in 2019 when INEC talked about server, and people already know how to hack server and impute results, which was what the Supreme Court used to dismiss this case of Atiku and Buhari. Now, in this last election, people are already boasting that during the electioneering process, a lot of young guys abroad are saying they can electronically win the election for a certain candidate. So there are pros and cons. See, even the British system, that is, they still have it is still manual voting. The American system is still manual voting.
But why they have manual voting as well as have e-voting? Won't this ensure that people like, for instance, people like us as journalists will be able to vote?
Yes. Well, if you say, let's do e-voting for a certain set of people, how do you segment them? How?
Anybody can sit at home and decide to vote at home rather than go to a polling unit that is quite far from.
That is also
when there has to be vehicular.
That is also why.
Yes.
That's also where we are talking about the cons. We'll be able to have enough security in our today development. As even the British lawyers, it's physical, it's manual, because you see them count their vote, but they are faster. And in the UK, it's as if during the elections, it's as if it's a normal day. I remember in one of the elections I was in the UK. That was there. I traveled from London to Scotland. I got there, and people are still, and because the election closed by 10 o'clock, and maybe because they have smaller constituencies, and before you know it, they have count. Nobody's talking about ballot box snatching.
So that's a concern because here on days there will be elections. There's restriction on vehicular movement.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, some businesses for that day are
No, not
paralyzed.
some, all.
This was
All
even
business.
compounded
All
by
businesses.
the tussle with the organized labor,
Yes.
saying that people can't fly in and out
yes,
of
all
Abuja.
businesses are. So I think we must, and I think it is because of some of these side negative effects. It's not in Nigeria. Even in other West African countries. I know whenever Ghana has the election, they also have that restriction. They close border, they do this, they do that. Same thing to Togo, Benin Republic.
Some even go as far as shutting down the internet.
Yes, some people go as far as doing that. Maybe because they felt they should. I don't know if South Africa closed their border whenever they did. I don't know. I have not been there during the election. I don't know if they have a restriction of movement. But I know that in our West African sub-region, most of them have shut down. So are we going to grow? I think it should be a big conversation. Are we going to grow to the level where we'll be comfortable? Even to the point that when you are doing a localized, I'm sure there's going to be election in Surulere, federal constituency in Surulere very soon. You can't pass through National Stadium. They will shut down, they will curtail everybody in Surulere because they're holding an election. This is within a state. So when it happens, I'm sure you will see that they will shut down Surulere. And so how do you within a state now shut a particular community locality? People cannot go in, cannot go out, you cannot walk through.
There are peculiarities here, but how do we handle these peculiarities so we don't have to shut down the economy while voting?
That is the question all of us must sit down to have, because I think this is our 24 years of unbroken democracy. Yes, although that every day the challenges are increasing by the day. The challenges are increasing. People felt, maybe the feeling is, oh, if there is no restrictions, people can move around, can create violence in one, people can move from one spot, valid reasons. But can we now start having a conversation on how we can start winding these things down? So the point that we can afford to, okay, look at this, look at some of the things we saw in Kogi on the street. Kogi is a very central state. Kogi and Edo, they are very central states to anybody going from the north to the south or from the south to the north. Now, Kogi is shut down for hours. Transporters can't move, goods cannot move. Those who are supposed to be having perishable goods like tomatoes, pepper, things like that, they'll be stuck till whenever they open up the roads for them. So this has distortions. Today, people cannot go from, the same thing in Bayelsa, cannot go from River State to Bayelsa, neither from Delta to Bayelsa or cut across. As for Imo, Imo is the heartland of the Igbo land. So nobody can go to Aba from Onitsha. So you discover that it's not tidy. It's not tidy. So we must begin to have conversations around these issues at a broad, at a larger level, as to how can we start ameliorating, winding down some of these things, because you disturb the life of every other person because a particular state is a particular state, a particular location. It might be just one small locality, maybe a House of Assembly constituency, and then you shut. Maybe that place might lead to people might need access that area to the next street or the next community, and you say no, nobody can go there. You shut it, and no vehicle can move.
You know, off camera, you know, we're analyzing some of the pictures that our correspondent sent in from the state about people. Some even had to lay, you know, something similar to mats on the road.
Exactly.
Because the roads were shut and
We're
they couldn't
shut down.
move.
Yeah, we're
so
shut down.
I'm thinking, you know, let's try to reconcile that now with the call by former President Goodluck Jonathan. I know you'd spoken about that earlier, but then we are at it again. How do you think it should be? That could just be one of the reasons he made that call.
No. But, see, even in national elections, we shut down.
Perhaps it would mean the shutting down will be just once.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, that call, because except you want to amend the constitution that there is a beginning date of every, like that May 29th. So even if a governor comes in at the end of the day, on May 28th, on May 29th, he packs his load and go.
But which incumbent governor would agree to that?
That's it. And that was why Peter Obi did a good thing then, to go to court to say his tenure starts from when he took out of, and the court sees, and that's what now transmits to other people. And again, when because normally we do not finish our court cases before people, people are sworn in. So when you are sworn in, when you have not finished your case and you have more time. So if you are removed, you should, a new election will be conducted or a new winner that has been declared will be sworn in. So you must run his full course. And as I said, I'm afraid Plateau might join the race, Kanu might join the off-season, and then we'll now keep having off-season. And this occurs mainly for governorship elections. Those states now have a full complement of the House of Assembly. They all have their full complement of the House of Assembly because the House is a body. It's inaugurated on a day, they all live on a day. So it doesn't matter when you come in. But the executive, the chief executive, is always sworn in on a particular day and can say 4 years. So the House is also 4 years, but they are inaugurated together. So if there's an exit and an incoming, it's not individual, it's the House. Okay? Somebody was there, so you continue from where that person stopped. This one, somebody was not there. Now, the only person that, you can see, the only person that had that did not enjoy this off-season or this was Nuriti Mamechi.
Okay.
You know, he came in 9 months after Omehia was in power. Now, what was the case of the court? The case said, in the eyes of the law, it was the PDP. So it was still the same person, it's just that they changed whoever that was there. The same person that was ruling.
Okay,
that's
we
why
need
he
to very
didn't
quickly
enjoy that extended.
Okay, very quickly, we need to bring in our senior political correspondent, Ayodele Ozugbakan, who is standing by at the INEC Collation Center there in Kogi State for some updates. Aya, what updates do you have for us at this time?
Yes, boss, the process of collation is done, and I'm right now at the state headquarters. That is going to be the final stop of the collation, and the collation center is getting set. The journalists, media houses, observers with their cameras setting up, waiting for the process to come all the way. We've gone past the process of the polling units. As you know, the process of polling units terminated immediately after the vote ended by 2:30. So they counted at the units level. From that units level, those results will be taken from 3,204 polling units. It will be taken to the ward level. So from the ward, it's going to go to the local government, and from local government, the whole thing is going to end here tonight. So we are waiting for 21 local governments. And you know, the way Kogi State is, the topography, there's some local government that's as far as 5 hours from, you know, the state capital here. So it's going to take time for them to go through the process of collation from the ward level to the local government level, and it will terminate here. So what we've seen today is something that is very, very unusual in Kogi State. Yesterday, I was very skeptical about the security concern by people. You know, the people have been talking about security, but today what we witnessed today, top-notch across the states. Top-notch security across the state, reinforcement of military personnel all across strategic zones in those local government area, 21 local government area. My reporters that went to the Eastern Senatorial District, the Central Senatorial District, and of course the Western Senatorial District all came back reporting that security was top-notch everywhere, that they were stopped at every point to be searched, and even some people that even had police escorts. The policemen were asked to get down, and at the point in time, some military guys were searching the policemen. And you know, innuendos that, oh, sometimes these police guys, policemen, sometimes they are drafted into doing something untoward during the election. But what these military guys are doing, you know, it's unprecedented. What they did today, it's unprecedented. They stop and search everywhere. So we didn't record, we've not seen situation of breakdown or law and any major breakdown of law and order across the 21 local governments in Kogi State, which is quite commendable, because when you see the level of apathy, a lot of people will say, look, what is responsible for this apathy might be concerned on security, about security, that how safe is the exercise going to be, that how safe will people, when they come out to exercise their franchise, they always make reference to what happened 4 years ago, and they will come back to make reference to what happened even this February 2023 presidential election in the state, But to the naysayers today, we're actually very, very surprised at the level of security arrangement, particularly in Kogi State. I can testify to that, Bosse.
You have spoken about how it went at the polling units in the wards and local government, but let's talk about that collation center now. How tight really is security around that site?
Trust me, Bosse, if you don't have business here, you can't have access into this place. If you don't have cogent business beyond even the normal accreditation that we did, that the Independent National Electoral Commission did for us, we have this, and there's a barcode. There's a barcode with this ID card, and before we entered here, it was scanned. They scan the barcode to authenticate it, and sometimes they ask you for your official ID cards. So I can't count the number of policemen that cordon off this road. The road leading to the state headquarters had been cordoned off, so you can't even drive into this place. You can't even access this place if you don't have anything cogent. Now, what they are now telling us that in spite of the fact that the collation center is ready, cameramen from TV stations and everything, they've assembled their cameras, and this place is called Professor Mahmoud Yakub Hall, and inside the hall, cameramen from different TV stations, they've assembled their gadgets and microphones and cameras to actually transmit live the collation process. But what they've just told us that after 10 minutes now, that everybody will have to go out, that they will now be screened one by one, that you leave the equipment inside and everybody will go out, and people, the bomb disposal units and all other security agencies will now take over this place before they now screen people individually, despite the fact that you can see people inside now, that they've gained an entrance into this venue earlier. But what they are going to do now is that they are going to ask everybody to come out, and they're going to screen one by one. That shows the level of security, high alertness on part of security agencies here, and the final results from all the local governments, from the 3,204 polling units. So, as I told you earlier, it will go through the wards. When it go through the wards and it will get through the local government, as of now, I have confirmation that it has gotten to most local governments. They've left the polling units, and they've finished their compilation and they're sorting at the ward level. So by now I can tell you authoritatively that most of those result sheets and ballot papers, they've made their way to this local government, 21 local government across Kogi State. So the final port of call will be this place, and it's going to be transmitted live in most TV stations.
Let's talk about the upload of results on iREV. We know that we've had about 60% success in some of the states. What is the situation in Kogi?
Yes, the Independent National Electoral Commission, they are just trying to kind of redeem their battered image after the 2023 presidential election on the promises they made about this iREV thing. But I can tell you that according to the Supreme Court judgment, the iREV, the portal is not the collation center. So INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, they will still be making use of that hard copy of from EC8A, from EC8-9, from EC8-10, and everything will now climax here. So whatever you are seeing on the iREV, I can tell you that it's just for backup, except it is legislated that it's a must that INEC must upload, that there's a law on ground that INEC must upload, and that will be part of the requirement for result collation. According to the Supreme Court verdict, it's just, the iREV does not serve as a collation center. It will just give you a kind of idea of what is happening. And I think the Independent National Electoral Commission, they are trying to perfect their actants by, practicing, making sure that, gradually till they get there. So from what we've seen so far, some states have recorded 50%, some 60%, and some above that. But I can tell you authoritatively that the iREV is not something that the Independent National Electoral Commission will be using and will be relying on solely. What they are still going to be using is that result sheet from each of the 3,204 polling units in Kogi State here. So the iREV is just like an icing on the cake. an added incentive, but it's not something that I can say it's 100% foolproof and reliable right now.
Any information from INEC regarding the next step?
Yes, we have situation in Ogori Magogo local government that people reported the pre-filled result slip, and the Independent National Electoral Commission told us that they are looking at the case, they're looking at the merit, they are going to get back to us. We expect that before the collation starts, they will tell us what they want to do about that particular local government and every other places that this kind of concern was raised and it has been substantiated. So I see a situation whereby INEC will talk before the collation starts, and the worst case scenario is that INEC might say, look, that they should have a kind of by-election in those affected local governments tomorrow. But I won't preempt them, but I'm just saying that the worst case scenario, if it's been able to be substantiated that those allegations are actually true as raised by some concerned civil society organizations and candidates, that the INEC will look at it, and on its merits, they are expected to rule before collation proper starts this evening.
You're looking at the conduct of the election so far, with all you have said on the coverage of the elections in Kogi and what the feelers you've gotten from Imo and Bayelsa State. How would you rate INEC at this point?
Can you come again?
I'm saying that with all you have heard, with all you have said, and the feelers you've gotten from the from other states as Imo and Bayelsa, and you are in Kogi State, how would you rate the conduct of this election in those states? Of course, with what INEC has put in place as well.
Now, at this stage, it's going to be difficult to actually, score INEC because it's an ongoing process. This is just what we call the second half of the game. So we've gone through the process of accreditation, we've gone through the process of voting, and if we've gone through that process of accreditation that happened in the morning, voting proper in the, this afternoon that terminated by 2 o'clock. So what will happen at that ward level, what will happen at the local government level and at the collation center here will go a long way to credit what INEC has been doing for the past how many months, or to go a long way to discredit what the electoral body would have done so far. So it's still very, very premature to actually give INEC. But what I can say in terms of deployment, early deployment and logistics, from what I saw today in Lokoja, I can say so far, so good, Theophilus.
Ayo, how soon are we likely to see activities at the collation center where you are? Today or maybe tomorrow? Tomorrow. It's almost impossible. I've been doing this for some time now. I can tell you that it's almost impossible to get those results in today. Local government by local government. There are some local government, as I told you earlier, they're like 5 hours, 6 hours drive from the state capital here, and it's going to go through the process before they bring it. They are going to collate it at the local government ward level, and to get to the state collation center here, that might not happen today. So we are looking at the early hours of tomorrow, so that those electoral officers from each of the local governments, they will be reading the results one by one, and we expect the returning officer any moment from now to constitute this collation center to declare it open. And once it's declared open, those results will be trickling in one by one, and we expected to have the full results, maybe max tomorrow evening. This is Kogi State. It means that it's likely to be a really long night. So how exactly are you prepared for the vigil? Because you have to keep watch.
It's our job. We are here. And the weather has not been too friendly in Kogi State. The temperature was like 38 degrees earlier today, and so far it's been very, very hot in the confluent city of Lokoja. So, but we're enjoying it. We have a job to do, and we're on ground here.
Well, AY, I'll only wish you the best. Keep up the good work you're doing, all of the updates we're getting from you. And definitely we'll get back to you, for more updates with the coalition. Thank you, as political correspondent Ayodele Ozugbakun. Oh, Alistair, you've heard, what AY shared there.
Yeah.
Watertight security to just make sure that the process is as accurate and accountable as it can be. You can't just attempt to,
walk in there.
walk
anyhow.
in.
Yes.
It's not possible.
I think I think despite that we have 3 states, most of the eyes on Kogi. There is maybe maybe let's say we have like 50% of the eyes on Kogi, 30% on Imo, and maybe 20% on Bayelsa.
And why is that?
Well, maybe because of it has been. If you are correspondent, I'm sure you don't have a station full complement.
No, we have a full
we
team
actually
everywhere.
do.
I don't know if I have
In each of the
a
states.
full complement, because when the heavyweight of fire is in Kogi, that leads credence to the importance of Kogi in this whole election. So we'll be having more now from Kogi, even the people who spoke. Because I think the last election in Kogi was a bit acrimonious. There were a lot of misgiving, so much violence, and people said there were snipers in helicopters, and so last election in Kogi was very, very acrimonious and very, very security-wise, very, very low security-wise. So maybe that's why they seem to want to fortify that. Even the NYC DG was in Kogi. I think also the chief of some of the top military, but they went to Kogi. So they think Kogi is the epicenter. And so everybody seems to be having their eyes on Kogi because of what happened. Not to take anything away from Imo and Bayelsa. I think Bayelsa ranked low, but that should be the state with the worst security challenge because of its terrain and topography. And Imo, too, because of the activities of IPOB so far, Imo, too, should have that kind of presence. But I don't think it's bad that they say once beaten, twice shy. Even though, and again, I think Imo is only, Kogi is the only state that is not having an incumbent trying to return. There's no incumbency. The incumbent is not on the ballot.
It's a new person.
It's a new person. It's a new race entirely. Unlike Imo and Bayelsa, where you have the incumbents on the ballot. On the ballot. So I'm happy with the report that there's watertight security. You see, it's costing us a lot. It's costing us a lot.
What exactly? The fact that it's off cycle, or
no. I mean, to maintain that level of security.
Okay.
It's quite expensive, and so that is why stakeholders need to really have a conversation around some of these things that we do, and it is out of our own the doing of the politicians that creates this kind of high tension in terms of security, because the average voter is not interested in creating problems. The reason who you are appealing to is not interested in creating problem. It is you that is the politician that is increasing the problem, fomenting the trouble. For you to have this kind of level, I mean, like talking about cordon off a whole street, a whole road. Now, for the next 2 days, till the results are declared and the entire place cleared, that road, so those who have businesses there, those who are living around that area, will be inconvenienced, and they will not be able to access there. So is it how we should go in perpetuity? I think we should have a conversation on how to, on merely electoral violence.
Should the conversation also talk about voter education?
Yes, basically voter, because I mean there's a full unit in INEC of voters education units. It's a directorate.
But are we doing well there?
We're not doing well. Even the National Orientation Agency that should lead in character remolding in the country. I think throughout the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, it was a dead organization. Because I was fortunate to be in a network program with them on an NTA, and I was bitter. I said, I remember, what brought about National Orientation Agency? It was MAMSA. When MAMSA came up, and then after MAMSA, I think it was now converted to National Registration Agency. Some of the staffs are still the staff that were in MAMSA. So the man we were in the program, he said yes, he started with MAMSA, mass mobilization, the one that headed by Jerry Ghana of the 80s. You know, so that is how. Then we knew how the military used that organization that institution to create awareness and to direct people's attention. Now, the National Registration Agency should have a collaboration with INEC on voters' education, on taking the message. It's not just even our campaigns are not, for me, as far as I'm concerned, they're not campaign. You just go there and stand and knock akpaku and dance and you tell the people, vote for us. We are the best. Don't mind them. Nothing of value. And then you just go so you can share money. Those who go to this, they know they can share money, share T-shirt, get umbrella, souvenirs, and they go home. Ask them, those that go to rallies, what was the message? Ask them. I'm sure 99.9% does not know the message. And this is what the National Registration Agency should be doing, and the INEC Voter Education Department or Directorate should be doing. When you go to campaign, ask questions. I mean, yes, but go and find a message. Go home with a message. You know, I used to think in other clients, they said, okay, there are people who are traditionally for this candidate, traditional for this candidate, then there is the undecided.
For candidates now, even for parties.
For parties.
And that's about party ideology.
Yes, party ideology. And then some people too, maybe the candidate which the party will throw up. That's why you keep having, what they call it, opinion polls, you know. I mean, if Ghana is doing this much, in terms of educating the voters, look, if you follow Ghana electoral, they're prepared for the election. I've been following them right from the primaries of the MPP. The NDC had their primary long ago. They've had their candidate in terms of presidency. If you see the process of the primaries for the presidential candidate of the MPP, now first of all, you have the super delegate primaries, which was held, I think, in October, that trimmed the number from, I think, from 15 to 5, the first 5. Super delegates, that is for super delegates, they call it super delegates for party chairmen and all that. So if you see the process, there were Joy News and other stations, we are doing analysis, we are doing opinion polls. Up to when they had the last convention, the delegate convention for which they just elected their, MPP just elected their president candidate 2 weeks ago. Now, there's even an opinion poll about who is likely to be the running mate. So it's a people follow these things sequentially, but in our own climb, no.
But sometimes poll, come up also in Nigeria.
Yes.
It's just that you find out that the results doesn't
tally.
Yeah, because most
whatsoever.
of the poll are done just to satisfy certain interests. Okay, we just want to maybe APC is doing a poll. They target one name, they award themselves all the votes. Oh, Labour Party did a poll.
So you think individuals don't even actually get to do the voting in those polls?
They don't. Okay, look at the poll done during the time of the last election by what is that? I can't remember. At the Peter Side and Co. Who owns that platform? What was the poll? They even awarded how many percentage to Labour Party in Kano State. And by the time I looked at that poll, I said, this is arrant trash. So we are not sincere. And we are not interested in deepening the process. We play with the process. And so that is why the people are not looking for any message. Most times the people will tell you, they know who they will vote for. My own is to go there, collect umbrella, collect souvenir, and go. And most often than not, you see a political rally in Lagos. Let's say a presidential campaign rally in Lagos. You import people from Oyo State, import them from all over the place to come to rally in Lagos. What are you trying to prove?
What do you think about debates?
Yes.
Pre-election debates.
That should be.
Does it deepen the process?
That is where people. That is what should deepen the process. That should give. If people are undecided, it is that debate that will give them the ideas of what the candidates are. But in Nigeria, well, I don't think we'll have undecided voters. Because it's either we are voting out of sentiment, we are voting out of party affiliation, we are voting out of sentiment, we are voting out of tribe, we are voting out of religion. So not out of message.
But debates, do they give a level playing field to all political parties?
Yeah, because most of them are known, the fields are always big. How many parties do we have in Nigeria? The fields are always too big, so you cannot bring everybody. Okay. So at some point in time, the organizers will have to choose who are the top contenders that could come for it. I know it's not totally democratic, but given our peculiarities, we have over, how many parties do we have? The last ballot, we have 20-something people on the ballot. Yes. Now, which stage will take to, if you want to hold a debate for 20-something people, what is the logistics? How will you do it? So
would you suggest a two-party state or something similar to
Well,
that?
we've gone beyond that. We've gone beyond that. It was during the SDP and the NRC days. We saw how, I mean, those of us who are old enough to know what happened then, we saw how it was. And of course, in the Second Republic, I was a small boy, but I followed politics then. We saw quality. There was no debate. But we saw the quality of campaign, of campaign rallies. I mean, if the late sage of Afra Awolowo is going to have a campaign rally, you understand, you know you are expecting a message. As a small boy, I trekked over 7 kilometers from where I was living to where Chief Afra Awolowo had his campaign in 1983, somewhere in Port Harcourt. So you're expecting a message. If Shagari was here, but now we don't get a message. You just get dance, Naka Akpako.
So finally, Mr. Wilcox, when do you see or draw a curtain on this particular election in the 3 states? Sunday, Monday?
Well, from what I just said, we might go up to Monday. We might go up to Monday because if they cancel like this Ogorimagongo stuff, if they have the decision not to accept that election, then they might have an election tomorrow.
All right.
Or thereabout. So we might see Monday. Sometimes maybe it might dictate to Tuesday. But I think Bayelsa Imo might end up by latest Sunday evening or Monday morning. But Kogi might stretch. The
good thing is that we have our people who are giving us blow-by-blow information as it comes everywhere.
Definitely.
Yes. And thank you for your network. It's almost a national network now.
Well,
it is a national network. It's a national network.
I'm talking in terms of national coverage. So it's no longer a Lagos TV. Yeah. It's now and it's a good thing. So some of us that comes here, we know why we come because it's a quality place for us to come and air our opinion.
So it's like you're not even so current really, but at least it's the reality, And we sincerely appreciate you for joining us. It's been a very rich, 2 hours spent with you discussing the off-cycle elections in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi. Thank you.
It's always my pleasure anytime. TVC.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, you're watching the off-cycle elections, our special coverage of the poll as it goes down in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi. We'll take a moment now, and my colleague and I, Theophilus Elama, would leave you. At this time, we'll be back with the news at the top of the hour, and then we'll bring you some other updates later.